Okay, so hello, this is Farmer Ben, and I am doing my very first ever YouTube video, and this one is a bit of a guide to the base within Empires and Puzzles. Now, just to let you know a little bit about me, as I say, it's my first video, and I am a free player, so I've never spent any money on the game. So everything that I've got, I have got through lots and lots of farming over the years, lots of taking time and persistence. It has paid off. I have done pretty well. I've managed to come reasonably high on some of the challenge events, and I've also done I've managed to get into the top 100, in top 10 in fact globally, and #1 in the UK, so all, as I say, without spending any money. As you can probably tell from my outrageous accent, I am a British person, so I am British, and that may freak some of you out, but there we go. So just quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look around the base and talk about some of the basic buildings in the base, and how, as a free player or as anyone else, you may want to think about which buildings you're upgrading. Now, I've chosen to go about bases because the base is, I think, a bit of a neglected area in a lot of the videos I've seen on YouTube. People assume that it's very easy and it's just quick and easy to do, and if you're happy to spend enough money and enough gems, then yeah, you can basically build your base up in nearly no time at all. But if you are a free player, you really want to be a bit more thoughtful, and being patient and accepting that sometimes you just need to have your builder working when nothing else is going on is really crucial to actually winning to actually developing your base, and then that allows you to make for a stronger team and a stronger general play style. Now, in the centre of our base, we have our Stronghold. So I'm just going to zoom in. Here is our Stronghold. Now, as you can see, mine's level 20. Now, to build up your Stronghold, it requires an awful lot of iron, and more importantly than the iron, it also requires a lot of iron storage. You can't get your base up to a high level, your Stronghold up to a high level, if you don't have the iron storage to do it. So you need to make sure that your iron storages are being upgraded as well. It costs a tremendous amount of iron to upgrade your base to level 20, but as you can see, I've done that. And every time you upgrade your base, I say every time, when you upgrade your base, periodically you unlock different corners of the map. So different bits of your base unlock, and you can build more buildings as your base develops. So I think it's a long time ago now for me, but you start off just with the spaces up at the top, and then gradually you get a lot more as you go on. So, as I said, to get your base developed, you need iron. Now, your iron mines, here are mine, they're all finished, as you can see. Your iron mines require food to be built and food to be upgraded. They're one of the few buildings that are developed through food rather than iron, and that can be really useful if, when your builder is doing work, you find that your base is full of iron, and you haven't got any, if you've run out of iron and you need some food to develop something. So it's worth, throughout the game, trying to keep your builder busy at all times. Your builder should never have a day off. They need to be working constantly to make sure that everything is progressing smoothly and your buildings are developing. Now, some buildings are more important than others, and we'll come to that in a little bit. Obviously, your iron mines, being your source of iron, are quite important, but probably slightly less important than your farms, which will also help you to develop different areas of the game. Now, when you look around your base, you've got your iron mines, as I say, here's mine. And if you zoom in as well, you've got these little people. If you click on them, they wave back to you. Hopefully. Here we go. Click. No, he's not going to do it. Rude. Rudest little person in the game. There we are. This one's waving back at me. I hate these little waving people. I mean, what they are doing with their time, I mean, it's just a waste of my time. Look, he's wandered off. This one's just walking behind my iron mine. I don't know if you saw that. One of them just wandered off behind my iron mine. Why would you do that? He is doing nothing useful for me. He could be doing some building work. He could be going and fighting the enemy, but no, they just wander around aimlessly. Drives me mad. Anyway, aside from the little wandery round men and the iron mines, so the iron mines can be developed using food. So to get food, you need these farms. Now, farms are these lovely buildings down here at the bottom. As you can see, they are an arable farm, so they are growing wheat and crops, but mysteriously they give you hams, even though there's no evidence of any pigs living on the properties. However, that's neither here nor there. You need your food, as I say, to upgrade your iron mines. So food is important for upgrading your iron mines, and iron is important for upgrading your farms. Further up here in the corner, We also have this tall building, which is our Watchtower. Now, your Watchtower is the only other building in the game that you can develop using food rather than iron. And as you can see with mine, it has got some hams and iron ready for me to collect. So all the time these little bubbles pop up, it's worth trying to keep on top of it and collect it. So I'm going to collect up my iron and my food. So those are your buildings which produce the resources. Your Watchtower, your iron mines down here, and your farms. You will want to try and keep them developing all the time. They're essential to progressing through the game. Also, you need to be upgrading your stronghold to make sure that that is keeping up with them, and they cannot develop above the level of your stronghold. So if your stronghold is level 10, your buildings can only go up to level 10, and so on. Now, also around my base, really importantly as well, as you progress, to advance your base to different levels, we have got down here, we've got my iron storages. So at the maximum, you can have 5 of those. So the game will only let you have so many of each type of building. So I've got 5 iron stores, and that gives you enough iron storage to then fully upgrade your stronghold to level 20. So there are my iron stores. You also need food storage. Now, your food stores work on a similar thing, that some of the research you need to do to get to the higher ends of the game, you will need the food stores to be fully upgraded, or you will need, at least you will want them to be largely upgraded so that you can accept enough food to do the high-end research. So here are my food stores. So throughout the game, my builder has been constantly upgrading one thing and another. It's a never-ending task for the poor girl. I have always assumed my builder has to be a lady because of the fact that she never stops working, and she's not one of the irritating little wavy men like this little man who's just disappeared. Here he is. Look, hello, little man. What are you doing? Do something useful. No, you just See, pointless arguing with them because they don't listen. But anyway, they're not doing anything useful. They just wander around my base waving at me, and they drive me mad. Anyway, so you've got food storage, iron storage, and then you've got various buildings which produce the resources. So all of these, it's kind of a balance to try and keep them all developing at about a pace with each other, whilst at the same time remembering that you have 2 other kinds of buildings, or 3 in fact, as there's another one which you'd get later on in the game, that you want to be developing as well. So as a free player, one of the most important buildings to be developing, or the two of the most important buildings to be developing, I should say, are my forges. So here are my forges. Now, forges are the important building where you can build battle items. Now, battle items are essential to get high scores in events and to allow you to complete missions which are slightly above the strength of your heroes. Battle items, I remember when I first started playing the game, I used to hoard battle items and I'd hang on to them as if they were going out of fashion. Really, the best way to use them is to use them freely, save them for when you actually need them, but try and use them to complete missions and get hold of items which are otherwise impossible to get hold of. So don't be afraid to use battle items. Now, here is my forge. As you can see, my 2 forges here are both level 20, and you can build various items here within the forge, most of which require iron to build, but some require food. So mainly the potions will require food. So a mana potion requires food, whereas things like bomb attacks will require iron. Again, this comes back to keeping your farms and your iron mines going at all times. Now, also within your base, you have this other very kind of important building, which is your training yards, your training camps. Now, my training camp here is a level 20 training camp, and this one is training level 20 heroes. So it gives me a chance of getting a 5-star hero. Heroes are really important in the game, and most of the videos you can see on YouTube are about the heroes. But if you are a free player, it's really hard to get hold of decent heroes. You are totally reliant on summons, and summons are very hard to get very many of when you aren't spending money. So as a free player, what I've done is I've developed my training schools, my training camps, and that means that I am able to get 5-star and 4-star heroes, which Otherwise, I would never get through summons because I don't normally have enough gems to be doing summoning. If you can see right up in the top corner of my screen, I've currently got 2,627 gems. That's taken me about 3 months to save that many gems. And I'm going to be using that for a summons, a hero summons, next time there is a challenge event out. I am trying to. I would suggest at all times your gems, if you're a free player, are best used on summoning. If you are not a free player, a really good thing to buy is the VIP pass, because that will let you have 30 gems a day free, and also it gives you a dragon to put on top of your tower. Now the dragon's nice and kind of cool, but he also, aside from giving you the gems, it means you get a second builder. And if you're fairly early in the game, a second builder is a really good way to develop your base and your buildings quickly. Now, just coming back to what the builder is doing, in my bottom corner, my builder, this is going to be her last job ever before she retires. My builder is currently waiting to be started on this last forge here in the bottom corner. Now, as you can see, it's got a little green arrow next to it, which tells me it needs to be upgraded and that I have the resources left to do it. Early on in the game, I used to always know if my builder had finished work because tons of little green arrows would appear. Now this is the last one. So when I click on it, it will give me an upgrade option. When I click on upgrade, it will tell me it will take 4 days. Now, all upgrades take longer the more developed the building becomes. So this one now is going to take me 4 days, but that's not really a problem because I can just hit upgrade, I hit go. And this is where the patience part comes into the game. As a free player, there is no point in trying to rush this. And I would never really advocate rushing any building within the game. It will take me 4 days, but it will just quietly carry on doing it on its own. I don't need to come and check on the building or do anything else. It will just slowly complete itself. As you can see, to finish it off instantly would cost me 1,932 gems. That is an awful lot of gems to save time on a building. My view, and it's been this throughout the game, is I let my builder just work in her own time, and then but try and make sure that she is always busy. So quite often she's working when I've got the game switched off or when I'm asleep or anything like that. So I keep my builder occupied, and that is really, really important. The last kind of building, which I haven't had a quick look at yet, is this kind here. Now, this is the Barracks. I'm just zoomed in a little bit on it. I'm just going to click on it here. The Barracks is a building which you can only build once your Stronghold has got to level 10. And this is the building where you can start upgrading your troops. Now, troops take a little bit of time to upgrade and they require an enormous amount of food. But it is worth converting one of your forges to a barracks as soon as possible. Now, the reason I would always say convert a forge is because when you look at it, my forges at the moment, I have 2 forges, neither of them are doing anything. I have another one which is being built up, and I did have a 4th one, which is now my barracks. You don't really need 4 forges. As long as you plan ahead a little bit, you can make sure you're building battle items as and when you need them. It's fairly rare that you need to rush build them to the point that you need 4 forges working at once. So the forge is the best building to convert into a barracks. My barracks is as leveled up as it can go. It can only go up to level 10 because it's a later building. And if I click on it, you can see that I can upgrade my troops. So I have various 4 and 3 star and 2 star troops throughout my base. Because I spend a lot of time trying on the rare challenge events, I have a lot of 2 star troops saved up, which a lot of people don't do. But we'll talk a bit more about troops at another time. So that is, in a nutshell, that is a rapid tour of my base. The only other building I haven't mentioned, as it's not one I've had to build, is this little tower over here, which gives you daily mystic visions. Now, mystic visions are always a bit hit and miss. In terms of the rewards you get back from them. But sometimes you get amazing items which are really hard to find otherwise from watching a mystic vision. So I would always recommend that you try and watch your mystic vision every day. because you never quite know what you'll get back from it. Sometimes you might get one gem and something you really don't need, like a set of leather armor, but other times you'll find a mysterious tonic or one of the high-end battle items which are really hard to get hold of, or a really hard ascension items, I should say. They're almost impossible to get any other way. So that is really important. Try and watch your mystic vision every day. So yes, I think that sort of sums up the main principles of being a free player on the game. Make sure that your builder is working at all times. Make sure that you are developing different buildings as you need them, and don't feel the need to just continuously develop the same type. I've forgotten to mention the houses in all my excitement. Let's zoom in on the houses. So the houses are where your recruits live. So I can currently house 294 recruits in all of my houses. They are the guys that you can train as heroes. But I'll talk a bit more about training another time. So your houses need to be developed as well. You only need to go up to 100 recruits storage. If you can store 100 recruits, then you can do all of the kinds of training necessary. I've upgraded my houses past that because I've got the time and the energy and the inclination to do it, and I'm at the stage where once I got to 100, now I'm just upgrading things because they're there. And as I said, this is going to be my last building upgrading going on down here in the bottom corner. Anyway, as I said, so that's it. So if you want to prioritize buildings, I would suggest the best things to do is to prioritize your stronghold, because your stronghold will, although it doesn't do anything itself, will let you upgrade the other buildings. As you're upgrading your forges and your training camps, it's really important to research the different skills that they can do, which will help you to develop your team further. So my training camps, for example, this one is training level 11 low-cost heroes who are extremely cheap. Each of the different options available for heroes are all shown here. It's worth developing them as you go along, with possibly the exception I've never bothered to develop these ones later on. Common heroes extremely quickly, and lastly, legendary heroes are really important. All of my heroes, all of my 5-star heroes that make up my main team have come from training camps. I've never managed to summon a 5-star. And that is your base. Other things to note with your base, aside from the irritating little wavy men. Where's the little wavy man? Hello, little wavy man. Hello. Wait, stop, wave. And you. Yeah, we are. Now go and do some work. Swines. Anyway, the little wavy men keep me entertained, but there is also sometimes, periodically, if you look up in the sky above your base, you will get birds and a dragon that fly by. Here come the birds. If you tap on the birds, you can start shooting them down. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting carried away there. So the little birds can be shot down. There is also a dragon. The dragon needs to be hit a lot more times with your finger to shoot him down. But there is no particular advantage to doing this. This is just put into the game as a little bit of a jolly. So if you want to shoot down the birds or the dragon, it's a nice thing. It's something you can do to kill a couple of minutes when you're bored of the world. Anyway, I think 3 birds are getting away. Can I get them? Oh, there we are. 1 bird got away. So, as I said, there's nothing to be said. There's no real advantage to shooting down the birds, but it can be just a pleasant way to kill a few minutes whilst you're waiting for something interesting to happen in the game. The other main thing, of course, is being patient. Just accept, particularly if you're a free player, things are going to take time. There are shortcuts you can take, but the main thing is to make sure that your buildings are running themselves even when you are not playing the game. So I know my builder is busy. I know that my training camps are busy. I don't need to come and tap on them and check up on them. They will just keep going on their own. And that's really important. Just leave them running and make sure that they are running as much as you can, because you can never really have too many buildings completed and upgraded, and you can never really have too many heroes being trained. There are more effective types of training than others, but it's always worth making sure you are training someone, because you will need the heroes to level up your main set of heroes. Anyway, so that is Farmer Ben. I'm going to sign off now with my outrageous British accent and my vague look around my base. This is, as I say, my very, very first YouTube video. I will probably try and do some more talking about different elements of the game, but I thought I would start with the base as one of the least regarded elements of it. There is a lot to this game, and one of the beauties of it is that there are many, many different styles of play and ways of playing it. But I do feel that the base and the developing the base is often overlooked, and it can make a huge difference, particularly as you get further through the game, and once you get to sort of training camps level 13, when you can start doing 4-star hero training, and training camp level 20, which is really what changed my whole game from start to finish. Anyway, I hope that was of some value to some people. It may not have been. If it wasn't, that's fine. Next video I will probably talk a little bit about heroes and how to make sure you are leveling them in the most effective way possible. As I say, this is a free play guide, but as I've mentioned, there are plenty of ways to spend money on the game. Most of the ways to spend money will save you time. Some of them will earn you heroes. It depends on your priorities in life and in the game, how you want to go with that. There's nothing wrong with spending money on the game. But as I have already mentioned, if I could advocate one thing for a new player, it would be to get the VIP pass to make sure that you are developing your base as quickly as possible, because your base will pay dividends to you in the long term if you keep playing the game. And that is that. Okay, thank you. I will be posting another video about the game at some point in the near future, particularly depending on the feedback, if I get any for this one. Take care all, good luck, and may death come swiftly to your enemies.